Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience.
Hello, welcome back to Big LEZ'S League. Welcome to another episode of the drawing board for round 16 going into the bye round. We've had a pretty tough week. Not the worst week, but definitely a tough and exhausting week for SuperCoach and NRL Fantasy. Obviously, Fantasy, we are in some troubled times, running out of trades. They're running out of more and more trades every single week. I think we only have about 11 left, so really need to start saving those, and that's going to start this round. It's a pretty much forced hold week. What I mean by that is we are having a hold week, but it's not because I want to hold. There are some players we need to change around, but I am just going to take a quick break on the trades for NRL Fantasy. Focus a little bit more on SuperCoach. We have got a few more trades for SuperCoach. I think we've got 18 left after the 3 trades I've just made. That's right, 3 trades for SuperCoach. Not trades that I wanted to make, but trades that had to be made due to points, due to the forecast for a few players going into the next few rounds, buys, stuff like that. Some changes that really needed to be made. Obviously, a great pickup last week was Jaden Campbell, but unfortunately, he wasn't in my reserves. Was a little bit conflicted. Obviously, thought that Jack DeBellin was going to have a better performance. Didn't end up playing too well, and obviously, Jaden Campbell ended up getting 77 points in the loss to the West Tigers. Let's talk, though, about what we are going to be doing going into this week. Let's talk about this week for SuperCoach and NRL Fantasy. As I said, for Fantasy this week, it is a hold week, as you can see right here. No trades being made for NRL Fantasy. As for SuperCoach, though, I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see those trades. So, out this week, obviously, we are going to be getting rid of Scott Drinkwater. I guess a way you could rephrase this is that his time has expired. I guess you're not getting as much points as what you would get from Scott Drinkwater. The draw for the Cowboys isn't great. The Cowboys aren't playing the most colourful football, and Scott Drinkwater just isn't getting enough points for me to keep him in this side. Tedesco is a very attractive buy. Obviously, since he isn't going to get picked for games 2 and 3, he is going to be playing for the Roosters quite frequently, and he does get a hell of a lot of points. My backup is Jaden Campbell. I think those are 2 really good fullbacks to have over the next few weeks. So Tedesco at the moment back into my squad. I think he was in my squad a few weeks back. Obviously traded him out, I think, after 2 or 3 weeks. It'll probably be a very similar run here, depending on, obviously, after Origin, the fullbacks that do stand out. But Tedesco in my team at the moment. I have got Nick Meaney in. We got him in for Fantasy last week. He's looking good at the moment. The average is still quite good for him for SuperCoach as well. So I thought that I'd bring him in and just see how he goes this week. I've also gone for a bit of a rogue one. Now, this is more so just as a backup. For South Sydney, Jacob Gagai. The average isn't the highest, but I think just as a backup, while a few of my other guys are out at the moment with the bye, during the bye round going into Origin, I think it is a good opportunity to bring this guy in. He is going to be playing for South Sydney. I think he's locked into this back line until Campbell Graham comes back. And realistically, after Campbell Graham comes back, I think that Jacob Gagai has locked himself into this side for the rest of the season. Tyron Munro still to come back as well. So we'll have to wait and see what happens then when both of those guys do return into the team. But if at the moment, Jacob Gagai, he's locked down a spot. He's going to be playing each week for South Sydney. I am definitely bringing him in. And as I said, he'll be playing this week. Next week, he'll be just sitting in my bench rotation, or he probably won't even be in that purple reserve jersey. He'll more so just be as backup if there's an injury or if someone he is having a bye, he'll come in, obviously, and fill in that sort of role. So good backup to have, quite cheap as well. Jacob Gagai, and a decent average for what you're paying for him. So Jacob Gagai, Nick Meaney, James Tedesco, they come into my side this week for SuperCoach. As I said, for Fantasy, no other changes. The outs, obviously, were Scott Drinkwater. We already talked about him. Ruben Garrick, who has been underperforming for his price. 7 points last week, just forced my hand, had to get him out. And David Armstrong, obviously not playing for Newcastle at the moment. My SuperCoach side going into this week is Tedesco at fullback, Farlongo, Gagai on the wings, Rocco Berry, Nick Meaney in the centres. Tamale Martin comes into the 6, obviously with Dylan Brown. He's having a bye at the moment. Parramatta have the bye. Jerome Hughes at halfback. He's my captain. Tamale Martin takes the vice. Aden Fanua Blake and Terrell May up front. Jeremy Marshall King at 9. Tallis Duncan, Tepai Maroa, Nafa'u White, the back rowers. My bench is going into this week, and these are the only players that don't have the bye. Jaden Campbell, Carl Lawton, Matt Burton, Jamin Salmon. Now, I know that you only, I think, get points for the top 13, and I think that I am going to get a pretty decent score with my top 13 players, depending on if Jacob Gagai doesn't go as well as what I think he will, if Tallis Duncan has a bit of a quiet one and it gets less minutes on the bench, sort of circumstances like that. Tepai Maroa. If he doesn't get selected Teamless Tuesday, it doesn't really concern me too much. Obviously, we'll be getting points from guys like Carl Lawton and Jaden Campbell, Matt Burton, Jamin Salmon. The top 13 will still get decent points, even if those guys don't play well or don't play at all. More likely, Tepai Maroa to miss out on the 17. But yeah, look, confident with this one. At the moment, there's no origin concerns around any of these players. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident with this lineup, and I think that this will be the lineup that is going to be the final one going into this round. Don't think there'll be any other changes. Fantasy, I'll quickly go through it. It is the same as last week, except we don't have any bench players at the moment for NRL Fantasy. It is pretty much Schitt's Creek at the moment. Everyone either has the bye, injured. Josh Curran's obviously out with concussion at the moment, which really hurt me. But yeah, we are only playing with our top 13 this week. So dire straits for NRL Fantasy. Hopefully we go well. But yeah, even still, I had to hold off with the trades and save those trades for later in the season. I might have to do that for the next few weeks as well, which could really hurt my score. But look, it is what it is. I've got to save those trades. There you go. It is just your average punter playing NRL Fantasy and SuperCoach, giving it a red hot crack. Not the best at it, but we are trying to get better and better as the year goes on. Let me know what changes you're making for Fantasy for SuperCoach going into this week. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing with that as well. Let me know what changes you'd like to see to the show. What you think of the show as well. If you want me to add anything, fan questions, stuff like that, chuck it in the comments. We will see you guys in the next one. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube, Big LEZ'S League _ Make sure you go and follow the Instagram. That was the handle for the Instagram, Big LEZ'S League _ The link will be in the description. All other socials in the description as well. We will see you guys in the next one.